This episode of the Flush Podcast is brought to you by Walton's Inc., Aluma Trailers, Onyx Hunt, and by Nutrisource Pet Foods. My guest today is a gentleman that mixes his business with his bird hunting pleasures. Brett Walton is president and CEO of Walton's Inc., and he's a passionate bird hunter just like you and I. We'll talk Kansas quail, pheasants, habitat, dogs, inspiring new hunters, finding a business, family, and hunting balance, and so much more. If you're a bird hunter or just a hunter like me, or if you're a chef or really anybody that likes to make food, then you probably would be interested in products that are sold at Walton's. There are many places that you can buy products to process and prepare your meat. There are not a lot of places that you can buy those products and learn how to use them from experts. Walton's is that place. They have everything, and I mean everything, for your cooking and wild game processing needs. Plus, they have the experts on staff to help you learn how to use their products to get the best results. John Tremblay hosts their Meatgistics podcast, live streams, and live chats, which are interactive learning tools for the meat processing community. If you have questions, John and his team have the answers, from sausage making to smoking, recipes to seasoning, and so much more. They've got you covered. Walton's products ship the same day you order, and while they have nearly every brand you'd ever want to purchase, they also have their own line of Walton's grinders, mixers, stuffers, slicers, vacuum sealers, and so much more. In my opinion, they're like the Amazon of the meat processing world. Order the same seasonings and supplies that professionals use from the best name in the wild game industry. Walton's, they have everything but the meat. Welcome to another episode of the Flush Podcast. I'm Travis Frank. I'm your host. Brandon Morton is our producer. And Brandon, I get to talk to you again this time. Happy New Year. I haven't seen you. How have you been? I've missed you. Have you missed me?
Yeah, Happy New Year to you. I've been fine, man. I've been missing seeing you in person. It's a little weird to do these shows remotely.
It is, and I could not have been more remote last week, all the way on top of a mountain in Arizona. I do apologize for all the technical difficulties that causes you, because we try to get these shows out on a regular basis every week, and then I leave Wi-Fi for a long period of time, and I don't get it to you. You're texting me, hey, is the show coming? Is the show coming? What? As soon as I can get enough Wi-Fi. Brandon, I can't even tell you how many times I watched the bar go up on the upload and then time out. And, the loss of sleep that I had back at the lodge, back at the hotel, it was awful.
Well,
it was awful.
Just know this, Travis. I'm waiting to hear the show because I'm a fan of the show. So I'm looking forward to it. That's why I text you. I'm a fan of the show. I just want to hear the show.
Oh, well, bless you. I do have to apologize to the listeners as well. A handful of them have reached out to me since that last episode aired. One in particular, my mother, called me, and she was not happy with me, and rightfully so, because I was not prepared for the rattlesnake encounter that I experienced in Arizona. And truthfully, that's on me. And I did mention this in the show. Two things. One, I had snake gaiters sitting in the truck and I didn't put them on. I'm an idiot. I didn't do it, and I told the story last week. Go back and listen if you want. But I didn't wear them, and I should have. And the most important thing is this story I've told a couple of times, or not story, but I've told on this podcast a couple of times that my hearing is awful. Early in life, I didn't take care of it, and now I regret it because I have a lot of hearing loss. And in particular, I wear hearing aids regularly in life. But when I'm hunting, I don't, because they don't mute the gunshot. That sound I don't want to be extra loud in my ears. I do have a set of sound gear hearing protection, and I that scenario could have been avoided if I would have been able to hear the rattlesnake had I been wearing them. But the the beautiful little package that they come in that I take with when I go hunting was sitting in the center console of my truck, right where I left it when I got on the airplane. And that's one of the things that drives me, not drives me nuts, but like when I go hunting, I like to have my truck because I've got all my stuff in the back, inside. I know where everything is, so I if I need it, I know where to go. When I fly somewhere, I've got to pack gear. I've got a lot of other things that we're trying to account for, and one of the things that I forgot on this trip was my hearing protection. And the sound gear does amplify the sound. It would have allowed me to hear that rattlesnake, potentially saving, I don't know, saving my life is maybe a little bit too dramatic, but it was a small rattlesnake and they do release all of their venom on a strike. And so potentially it could have saved my life. Instead, Tyler saved my life and I got lucky this time. So, yes, I do have hearing protection. Yes, the people that listen and reached out to me, I apologize. But I was just telling the honest truth of what happened out there. And unfortunately, I forgot my hearing protection. Brandon, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. And mom, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry to everybody else too, because I make mistakes all the time. Anyway, I think we're caught up now. All right, let's get to our guests. Oh, one last thing before we get to our guests. I apologize for my last apology, I think, today. Last week, I was unable to do a show because I had no voice with which to speak. You would not have enjoyed listening to the show because it would have been a much raspier version of the raspy me that you're hearing right now. So my voice is not 100%, but I'm going to give it a go. And hopefully you enjoy listening to my guest today more than you enjoy listening to me. His name is Brett Walton. Brett, I know you're a very busy man, so I'm going to stop wasting your time by telling the stories of my personal failures and ask you if you'd like to share any of yours.
No, I'm just excited to be on. I'm a fan of the show. I listen to the podcast every week, and it's kind of crazy to get a chance to be on and talk to you.
Well, it's an honor for me, and I found this out too that you listen to every single week. When I don't know, one of my coworkers, Mark Lukey, said he got an email from you, and you, because I talk about, a lot of stuff that I use from your company all the time, and then I find out that you're listening to this podcast, and it made me happy. I got all warm and fuzzy inside. I'm like, oh man, thanks, Brett.
Well, you do.
But I also want to have you on too because I know you're a very passionate hunter, just like I am.
Yep, I like to get out and shoot at quail and pheasant here in Kansas usually.
Yep. And where's home? What part of Kansas?
Oh, Wichita's in like south central Kansas.
Okay. Before we get into your hunting adventures this season, quail, pheasant, etc., have you ever had an encounter with a rattlesnake before? I know I just
No,
went on and on there for a few minutes before introducing you, but do you remember any time in your life when you made a mistake like I have?
no rattlers. That's not something I've come across. There are rattlers in Kansas, but usually by the time I'm hunting, although I really, that's one of the things about those of us that listen to the show is you get to do all the stuff that we really want to do, and
Yeah.
so I really want to go shoot quail in Arizona, but maybe now just a little less.
Really? Did that change that drive
Yeah.
for you,
Well,
honestly?
it's just going to be something I'll be a little bit thinking about. More about my dog, though. I mean, how do you keep your dog from getting struck? That's what I'd worry about.
Yeah, that's interesting too. And actually, Tyler Webster, the gentleman that I was hunting with, he did take that opportunity to try to do a little snake avoidance with his dog that he had on the ground that day, Bo. Um, but yeah, I think that's a real concern for a lot of hunters. And Tyler and a lot of the other people that we talk to that he knows that live down there that hunt this time of the year, it's very uncommon. I mean, he's never seen one, and he knows one of the most historic mountain lion hunters in Arizona, New Mexico. And he was talking to him, and his daughter about it, and they've seen maybe, I mean, they live out there. That's all they do. They're on the ground every day during hunting season, and they have seen so few rattlesnakes this time of the year that it's not even something that's on their mind. And they were almost like, whoa. But, it was 20 in the 20s that morning.
Oh,
Those snakes
wow.
should not be out. I mean, that's why I did not put my snake gaiters on. And I said this in last week's episode that I didn't bring the snake gators down there for snake protection. I brought them down as body armor against the cactuses, the needles, and it worked great. Now, it makes sense to just for a little extra peace of mind to wear them in case, running into snakes. Uh,
Well,
I,
do your dogs have problems with all the cactus though too?
So they yes, they do, but they also learn very quickly what they can step on and what they can't. That's according to Tyler and a couple of the other people that I've hunted with, because I watch their dogs for the most part run all day without having to take any needles out. They
Wow.
avoid certain running their face in. It's not like the cactus or the cattails or the grass up here that they're running through steady. They kind of bob and weave around the cactus plants and in the bushes, and they do come out rough sometimes, but their paws for the most part make it out okay. Um, besides just a few. It's amazing. Dogs are just amazing, as you know, Brett. They're just
Oh yeah.
amazing creatures. And if I ran into something that hurt and then I turned and ran into it again and it hurt, I would probably learn pretty quick. And I think dogs learn in threes and sevens. So maybe it's the third cactus or the seventh cactus, but they learn pretty quick not to stick their face into it or their feet on it.
But I also know, as most of us that have dogs, my dog doesn't want to stop for much of anything. When
Yeah.
he's going, he will run until I think his feet, were total blood. He would just,
hmm
keep running and it wouldn't slow him down. They just get so crazy, and I'm like, well, what would he do in cactus? But
I thought the exact same thing when I was down there. I thought my dog, I wonder if she would figure out to stop running into them, or through them, because some of them are just really bushes. Up here we're in the Midwest. I mean, it'd be a standard bush. It'd be the prime spot for a bird to hide in. But down there, that bush, you just stop before you get to it, and you do a little loop around it instead of through it, because the quail can hide in it, but you don't want to run through it. The needles are perfect toothpick size, which I found out too because I was eating a lot of beef jerky while we were driving, and I'm like, I gotta get this jerky out of my teeth. And Tyler had a toothpick with, and I was like, you got an extra one? He goes, no. And then I go, wait a second, hold it, pull over. And I walked out and I just grabbed, snapped off a big needle, and it was an ideal toothpick.
nice.
So, there's a pro tip for you right there. If you do go down there, you have a lot of toothpicks. Where have been okay? So you're in Kansas, and you do a lot of bird hunting there. But as long as we're talking about outstate adventures and you wanting to do that, which by the way, let me just say, don't let don't let my one encounter with a snake stop you from going to do that.
Okay.
I did have somebody else reach out to me and said that even though that snake was coiled, the chances that it had enough energy to strike were probably pretty low. I
Okay.
probably would have been able to walk past it. I don't know if that's the truth or not, but it does make sense. And the fact that it was even able to slither out after the temperatures at night being in the 20s like they were is even surprising to me. It is a place that if you love quail hunting, which I know you do, and I know you have quail, it is a place that takes it, I think, to another level. Um, that explosion, that covey explosion from the bobwhites that you get that with Merns. They hold really, really tight, and they live in the mountains, and that view is is something that you get a chance to do it, Brett. I think you take it.
Yeah, I'll do it someday.
Yeah. And then just, I guess, throw on some snake gators. It'll help you stay out of
And
the pricklies.
my hearing aids, and gators. Okay.
Yes. Okay, so you have hearing aids as well. Now, did you make the same mistakes that I did with shooting growing up?
Yeah, they told me a couple years ago when I got them. They said, there's kind of three things, and they went through it, and it was like hereditary. And I'm like, yeah, mom, and dad both had them, and then they list working conditions, and I rode on an uncabbed tractor for 15 hours a day through high school, and worked in a factory making corrugated boxes for quite a few years. Didn't use any hearing protection or any of that. Then there's the whole gun thing, and didn't do a
Hmm.
great job with that. So basically, everything they said could affect it negatively. Oh, and maybe listening to loud music. I checked every one of those boxes. So here I am.
Yeah.
But I'm a
Gotcha. Did
lot
you
older
grow?
than you are.
Well, there's wisdom that you should have then, Brad.
Well, it's
Because
too
of
late.
that, I can claim innocence because I'm just a young man and
Yeah.
I'm still just learning.
Yeah.
Where were you when I needed to know about the mistakes you made? I'll ask you that.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're in Kansas now? Is that where you grew up?
Yes, I did. Yep. Grew up
Okay.
within. I was born within 30 miles of where I live now.
Okay. And how long has hunting been a part of your life, and when did it start for you?
So I learned to hunt. My dad was from eastern Kansas, southeast Kansas, and so on a family farm. And my grandpa actually ran a dairy and farmed, and so
Okay.
pretty young age, I got to walk with him carrying a stick, and it was a family deal. My dad did some, but my grandpa did probably hunted with me more, but my uncles did a lot, and my dad's brothers and brother-in-law took me out, and yeah, I don't even know how old I was. I was maybe 13 probably when they gave me the single shot 410 and started giving me instructions. And
Nice,
but
nice.
it's all I knew was shooting quail until I was probably close to 18 before I even shot at a pheasant.
Isn't it amazing? I think it's so important. I had two grandpas, my dad. I had a couple of uncles as well, and they all were willing to let me come with them. Some of them invited me, sometimes they just gave in to my requests to go with
Hmm.
them.
Yeah,
But being able to go out and have experiences in the field with other people, I think helps grow or mature your hunting skills a lot quicker. Um, and it's very important. And that's something that I know you're passionate about mentoring the next generation. We'll get into that in a little bit, but for your personal story, was there any one person in particular that you think had the biggest influence on your creating your love for hunting, or was it all of them?
well, it was probably all of them. My uncle Gary was probably the most active in getting me out, and then I would hunt with him some too up closer to Wichita. But yeah, my uncles, they were such great teachers. They would give you such great encouragement, like, "Are you going to pull that gun up and shoot it, or are you just going to stand around and watch the birds fly away?" You know,
The real positive lift
Oh
you up,
yeah,
pick you uppers.
yeah.
Yeah.
But man, it really drove me to get better. And they were all really good shots. They grew up not having a lot, so when they got to go out and hunt, it was to go out and bring back, supper or whatever. And
Hmm.
they were all good shots. So you better be fast, and you better learn to be good and be fast if you want to get a bird. And
You mean they
so,
were gonna drop it before
oh yeah,
before too
I mean,
long if you didn't? Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
I don't remember a lot of that going. Well, we were waiting for you to shoot, Brent. I don't remember a lot of that.
Those are the type of people that make you better. I
Yeah.
play this is a very similar comparison. I don't take it easy on the ice rink with my boys. I'm doing that to make them better. And in turn now they're whooping up on me already, but I don't take it easy on them, and I think, your uncle's not taking it easy on you probably made you a better hunter and a better shot.
Probably did, and if you by chance talk to my boys, since you know a couple of them, anyways,
Yeah.
they would probably tell you the same thing about me. Because yeah, we didn't let them just, oh, here you can win. No, you're going to have to work hard for that.
Good for you and good for them. It's worked out well, I can tell. Um, let's, if you don't mind, can you go back to those days and tell us what the quail hunting was like then
Wow.
compared to what it might be today. I mean, it's got to look,
Ugh,
the
crazy.
stories of, hunters from years ago just feel to me like it's a whole different place.
So when I was, I graduated high school in 81, and I think it was that year, the year before, year after, somewhere in there, right, early 80s. One year we went down, and remember, this is dairy, it's working dairy, right? So you got to milk cows first, then you go
Yeah.
hunt, come in for a big meal, then you go hunt again. But you have to quit early because you got to get back in a milk again, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
one of those years there were so many birds that just hunting, we would hunt two places: the home place, which is a half section, and then there was a place 5 6 miles north that was another half section that they rented that was pasture for the most part, little tilled ground. That one day we pushed 11 coveys of quail, and they were all huge. And it was just to the point where my uncles were like, if a bird goes behind you, don't even look back. Just keep moving forward. It was
Wow.
crazy. So you're probably talking, 4 hours maybe of hunting. And it was just crazy birds. And now over there, it's around a town called Yates Center. And my uncle still lives over there. One of my uncles lives on the home place. And they haven't even hunted quail for years. They don't let anybody hunt them. There's maybe one covey. He told me, I think at Christmas, he said there's probably one covey left.
Really? Now, do you ever have a chance to go hunt with your uncle again?
No, I have not hunted with my uncles for quite a while now. I said something to my one uncle last year, and he's like, I don't think I can walk that far to get out.
Oh,
So he's kind of
bummer.
past that
Bummer.
point. So, but no, it was
Hmm.
when I was young over there. There was so many quail, and there was no deer and no turkey. Now there's a lot of deer, big deer, and there is turkey too.
Hmm. Can you point to anything in your opinion that has led to the drastic change in quail numbers there?
No, I wish I knew.
Hmm. So the
Everybody
habitat
seems
looks
to have a.
exactly the same today as it did in the
y-
early 80s.
I think it does. I don't think it's a lot different there. I go out to Western Kansas and habitat's a lot different because you can't find weeds out there anymore because they spray everything. But over Yates Center, I mean, it's on the edge of the Flint Hills. There's a lot of big pastures, and then creeks and wooded areas and some tillable ground around it.
Hmm.
I don't think it's that much different.
Hmm. Do you talk to anybody in that area and ask, are they telling people this is why the numbers aren't what they were?
No, I've talked to some people, around Wichita here, and nobody seems to have the same answer as to what it could be or why. But now, I mean, look, there's a lot of quail now out in western Kansas where there didn't used
Yeah.
to be any quail.
Hmm.
And we went
Interesting.
out to last year. We were out there for the governor's hunt. I think you've done that before out at Colby. And
I have not had the pleasure of doing it. I believe Ron Shera
Ron's
did
done it.
that
Okay.
hunt maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even 6 years ago. Time goes so quick now, I can't keep track of it. But yes,
So
somebody from our TV show has been there. Keep going.
right. So we went out there, and it's a pheasant hunt supposedly, right? So we went out there
Yeah.
last year. I shot at one pheasant and missed it, limited out on quail, and they were apologizing. And I go, "Why are you apologizing? It's been years since I've limited out on quail." And this is
Yeah.
on northwest Kansas, and that's how many
So
there was quail all over the place.
if you had your say, and if you could choose a pheasant or a quail, what would you choose?
Quail,
Yeah.
just fun.
What is it about the quail that just makes it? I mean, I know what it is for me, but what is it about quail hunting for you that rises to the top?
Well, for me, it's a couple of things. One, because that's what I learned to do. That's where I learned to hunt. So that's always kind of takes you back to, walking the home place over at grandpa's. But besides that, I mean, it's just, you get to shoot more of them and they just go fast, and the explosion of the covey,
Hmm.
um, which is there. I mean, it's still fun. A rooster gets up, they make a lot of noise, and they can still make you jump.
I got a text from a friend of mine that works at Federal, Brian Kelvington. uh, after the governor's hunt down there this year, and it looked just like what you were talking about. Or wait, maybe you're talking about 2021 governor's hunt or 2020?
2020, 2020.
Okay, so 2021 was the same way where they had a couple of pheasants over here, but they had just this beautiful lineup of all the quail, and he's like the quail hunting was out of this world. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show right now, Brett, is because your quail season is still open.
Yes, it is.
And there are still quail to be had in Kansas as we speak. 20 minutes before this podcast started, I got a call from a buddy of mine who, Ben Bredigan, who was just in Kansas hunting the last 3 days with another buddy of mine, George Lyle. And they were sending me pictures all weekend, and he called to tell me about it. And he said they found a lot of birds. So I want to find out what you've been seeing this year.
Well, I've been out. Of course, we did go up there to Colby in November, and a lot of time in November, I may not go out a lot. I'm more December, January.
Okay.
After yeah, I like it to be a little warmer. We ran into that though in December. There, so we were doing this year. My wife and I, we did a few times last year, and we just said, we're kind of getting to a point where we want to work a little bit less, or she wants me to work a little less, and I do too, and especially take some days off and hunt. So we just started saying, hey, every Thursday we're going to not set anything up and we're going to go hunt. And she doesn't hunt, but she goes along to help run the dogs, and she just enjoys the walk and being out.
Oh, love
And
that.
probably she enjoys my company, I hope too. But
You're a
so
good guy, yeah.
we get out, and we used to go to walk-in hunting, and we go sometimes north, sometimes west. From Wichita, you got to drive a couple hours away from Wichita, and then you can get into a lot of walk-in hunting. And we're seeing. So, anyways, it was in December. There was warm. We'd go out and then a couple of days there, and we can't even hunt till noon at 65, 70 degrees. That's too hot
Mm.
for dogs to run and do any good. And so, but we've been out at least several times, I guess 3 or 4 times this year, and seeing quail and not seeing a lot of pheasant, but seeing some quail
So
and
that's
getting them.
interesting. You think the pheasant numbers are lower and the quail numbers are up this year? Or how would you compare it to whatever we consider to be the average today?
Yeah, I think it's generally the trend for the areas where I can get to within a couple hours from Wichita, which is from west and kind of northwest and north, straight north from Wichita. So it'd be kind of north central Kansas. All those areas are tend to be pheasant numbers going down. And we Sandy and I do a deal where we go out and we'll try to hunt till noon, and then pull up Google Maps and see where's the closest town that has a little bar grill or whatever for lunch, and then go in and have lunch, and then hopefully get out a little bit after that if it's not too hot, which it's been too hot. But it's interesting because you get to talk to some local people then, and that's one of the things that we picked up here probably 2 3 weeks ago was up in north central Kansas, and the local people saying we just don't see pheasant anymore, but we sure see a lot of quail.
Huh. Interesting. I mean, I feel the same way you do. If I could choose one or the other, the explosion of a covey is heart-stopping, and so is a rooster getting up. But I love watching that covey rise. So I would choose a quail over a pheasant, if I had my choice, like you. But obviously, we want to see both of them up there. I'm guessing the drought probably played a part in that pheasant numbers.
Yeah, could be. I'd like to talk to someone that knows habitat a lot more than I do, and maybe they could help me understand some of it.
Does it look different to you this year than other years?
No,
Huh.
no. But I
Interesting.
think it's a trend. I don't think it's a one-time deal. I think it's a trend, but what makes sense about that about the quail wouldn't be in southeast Kansas, but now they're a lot larger populations in central and western Kansas. I don't know.
Hmm. Well, how we'll get into the family stuff a little bit because I mean I love that you take your wife hunting with you. I love when mine comes hunting with me. It's just I don't know why, but it's just such amazing quality time spent together. Did she bring it up to you, or did you invite her to go with the first time?
The first time we actually hunted together, we were probably dating. I don't even know if, or maybe we were just married. So, and then she was actually hunting. That was before kids. So it's been
Okay.
a lot of years ago. And yeah, I don't remember I don't even remember how that came about, but I think it was probably like I probably asked her to come because then I could hunt more if she
Right?
she'd come. Which
Yes.
when I was young, I hunted a lot, so a lot.
Well, she still enjoys it, I get, huh?
Well, she loves to get out and walk. She loves dogs. And, it gets back to the same thing that you hear over and over again. Everybody's like, well, they do it for the dogs because you do. I mean,
Yep.
we get out and even if we're not going to shoot at anything, the dogs need a good workout. So, Thursday we can, if we walk 7 to 10 miles, they're getting 20 in.
Yep. What dogs do you run right now?
So I have a half German wire hair, half German short hair. He looks like a wire hair, except for a
Huh.
little patch on his back that's really short hair. And then my wife has a, yes, you'd call it yellow lab. And her dog, she kind of participates. She runs around.
Okay.
You would think
Okay.
she's a great retriever, but she's not necessarily. But my dog, his name is Gruber. So Gruber and
Okay.
Bear. And Gruber is a bird finding machine. And he's about 5 years old. And he's big. He's probably 70, 75 pounds. So
Okay.
he's
Wow,
pretty,
that's a
pretty,
good size.
he's,
Yeah.
yeah, he goes through the cattails like just a freight train. Anything like that. He just bowls his way through. And I was listening last week. You talk about dogs circling around and coming, knowing which direction the wind's blowing. And I was
Mhm.
in the truck driving, listening, and I'm talking to you. I don't know if you knew that last week, but I was talking to you because yeah, listening to you talk about the dogs do that, and that's what he does. If you go out to a little group of grass in the middle of a stubble field or something, he will circle around downwind and on his own. He just figures that out. It's crazy to watch him do that.
How old is he?
5.
When did he start doing that?
He was doing it last year. So was he doing it before and I not noticed? I don't know, but I did notice it at the beginning of last season when we were out at Colby. I noticed that he was doing it, and then so I kind of paid attention to him now and watching how he works stuff. And it's really cool to see. And they just figured out on. I didn't teach him that.
Yeah. Yeah, some of that stuff, I talk to a lot of people that we talk about their dogs, my dog, they laugh at me, they laugh with me, they cry with me, all that fun stuff. But, they want to have a dog that has it all together. That puts it all together. And when they don't have that, they're searching for answers. They want to know how to get there. And most of the time, if you teach obedience, and teach them the commands and they respect that, the rest of it is just time in the field and time spent making the mistakes, bumping birds. They need to learn and work through that stuff. And all of a sudden, that that light comes on in their own mind on how to approach something. I think I think that's how that comes about. Brett, do you have any disagreements with that or any advice other than that?
No,
Bird
and
bird
and
numbers?
and Gruber, he's it makes him sound like he's a fantastic dog, which he is a fantastic dog. And he's laying on the couch next to me at night, and but he will not retrieve. Doesn't care for it. He will find birds. He will hold point. If I saw him this fall with a group, and I was up on top of a hill and he was down below, and they didn't know he was up there, and I was 100 yards away from him, and I bet he was on point 5 minutes.
Awesome.
He's just there. He's not. But when a bird goes down, he will go find it. He will find you dead birds, and he'll find them and point them out to you, and say, "There it is." He will go stand by them and look at it. Uh, the only ones he'll bring back is if you hit like a pheasant and it's not dead. He'll go get it when it's live. He won't let it get away. But once it's dead and it's not moving, he really doesn't want to pick it up.
Oh, good man, Gruber. How, as a fellow mixed breed owner, how did you come across a German wire hair and a German short hair?
A friend of mine actually had a male and a female that he intentionally bred because they were both great bird dogs. And he called
Hmm.
me up and he said, "Hey, I'm trying to get rid of these before they were born." He says, "I want to get rid of these, and I'm only calling people that I know will hunt them." So he said, "Do you want one?" And it was a perfect timing because my short hair that I'd had was about 11, 12 years old. So I figured it was a good time to get another one.
Huh. And you would do it again, I imagine?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's great.
How, how does he compare to other dogs that you've owned in your life?
Well, I've only had two bird dogs. I had a mixed lab when I was teenager, and then I had a German short hair that she was purebred, and she lived to be about 12. And she
Okay.
was good at finding birds, but she was nowhere near the dog that Gruber is.
Hmm.
So
I've
she
heard
wouldn't
some people. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
she wouldn't always hold point. She'd start the older she got, the more she creeped. She always creeped some, but she just got worse about it. And she was not a great retriever either. But she would find dogs. But she was kind of crazy. She was really high strung. She would like chew on her legs because she got so nervous about maybe whatever, just laying around the house or whatever. She might chew on herself. She was just really high strung, and she was a varmint killer. She would just kill anything and everything from snakes, turtles, armadillos, possums, yeah, cats.
What?
Yeah. We were hunting one time and she was back in some like a plum thicket and she wouldn't come out and she's barking. So I'm shocking her with the collar and she wasn't coming out. And I hear this, commotion. I can't see what's going on. And she just kept going, barking and barking and, growling going. And it's just some commotion. I knew there was something back in there. She finally came out with an armadillo in her mouth.
Dead? Was it dead?
It was not quite all the way dead yet. It was pretty well dead. But she brought it out. Now, this is a dog that didn't want to retrieve either, right? She would not retrieve a pheasant or a quail to me, but she brought the stupid armadillo back to me and was trying to give it to me. And my buddy is dying laughing while this is going on. And I'm yelling at her to put it down, to drop it. So you don't want to reach down there, It's
Yeah.
not dead yet.
Well, I guess, Brett, better that than a skunk.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. She never brought me back a skunk, but she did get sprayed before. So,
Especially one that's not fully dead. You
yeah,
don't want
yeah.
that. Well, I mentioned, that you do a great job of mixing business with pleasure. Let's talk a little bit business. One of them is that I know you're very active in getting new hunters out into the field, helping mentor others. What's your role in doing that?
Well, all of us could do a lot better job probably doing the individual task of that. But we have been sponsors with Pass It On Outdoor Mentors here in town. And I am currently on the board for that organization. And Mike Christensen has done a great job over the last how many years on working with different ways to get kids involved, from kids that don't have any opportunity to go to kids that are just getting started. And that organization continues to grow. And now they've added a Iowa, somebody in Iowa as well as the people in Kansas. So.
Yeah. And just, oh gosh, I don't remember how long ago it was, maybe a few months, or maybe it was even last summer. I had on, I forget her name now, from Pass It On, and
Oh, Brittany.
Brittany, yes, Brittany went
Yeah.
in depth with us as to how that organization works. Do you feel like you're seeing, just taking that organization, Pass It On, there's several m- hunting mentorship organizations throughout the country. Do you like that model? Do you think it's working well?
I think so, but a lot of them won't know for another 10 years or so how many of those kids get exposed, stick with it. That's part of it is
Yeah.
getting them to for that lifelong love of getting out and hunting. And
It
so sometimes you won't know for a while, but there's sure a lot of kids participating in it currently. And that's
Yeah.
good. It's
Well,
exciting to see because I mean, it's twofold for us, right? We talk about my love of upland hunting, and so I love to see other kids get involved and learn how to hunt and to be out in the outdoors instead of sitting inside. And then
mhm.
the other part is it's good for our business as continues to grow as more people get out and maybe shoot wild um, animals, mainly venison or elk, and then obviously they need products from us then to make snack sticks or summer sausage or jerky or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm good friends with the team up here in Minnesota that work at Rapala, and it's, a giant monster lure maker around the world, for fishing lures. And, they're always looking at helping kids. And one thing, one of the guys, the marketing director says, he goes, that's the future right there. If we're not investing in them, you know, I won't have a job later on, but more importantly, our fisheries won't look the same way that they do today. And so all of it matters. And you guys are taking the same exact approach, which I completely respect too. And I think we all are doing what we can, at different levels. Sometimes it's one-on-one mentorship that makes a huge difference in even taking some adults that I know have a lot of kids that are now taking their kids out. And so it doesn't matter who you take out there, it does make a difference. You did mention, though, how it affects your business and, um, Walton's being just this monster in the food processing world, the wild game processing world. When you started this business, or I should say, when your dad started this business, did he have any connection to hunting at all?
No, no, he was. If you're familiar with grinders and stuff, he basically started our company selling grinder plates and knives, and he
That's
was
it?
selling them to. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, selling them, repping a company that were made actually in Chicago, at a company called
Okay.
Specco, and he was repping Specco, selling to anything from small processors all the way up to what we call the big boys. The big corporations that he would sell grinder plates and knives to.
And that was mostly geared towards just the butchering world, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. That was it.
Gotcha. When
And
did you
and
guys decide to evolve into being so much larger and all these other products and then really catering to hunters?
well, we he asked me to come in with him, and we bought out a little company and that was in Wichita that had seasonings and equipment, grinders and stuff, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I came in with him in 1996, and we thought this was a great idea. So we mortgaged our houses and everything, and started took over this little business with like 6 employees. And we just noticed over the over the first several years there in the fall, lots of people came in our front door that wanted stuff for deer hunting, and they just wanted small quantities. And so we started trying to figure out how we could do that and grow that along with what we were doing with commercial meat processors. And so I eventually started making this little catalog, which I'm the most non-creative person, and I would sit at home at night and on this software build this little catalog, and then we started shipping that out by request and shipping that around the country, and that was kind of the beginning of it. Sending out about I think 5,000 catalogs in the first in the beginning, and then it just growing, and then my wife took over that. My wife was she was at home, and we have 4 kids, and our fourth kid started kindergarten, and she said, "Do we have something down there for me to do?" And I said, "Yes, we do. Here's a catalog. Why don't you take this and make a catalog?" And she did, and she made it awesome. That a lot of what you see today in our catalogs, I mean, she started it from scratch and built it up, and then eventually, about 4 or 5 years ago, decided she didn't want to work every day anymore. So we hired people to do it. But the catalogs that we send out today were basically created in the beginning by my wife and Sandy, and she did a fabulous job in the retail catalog and the commercial catalog, and getting those where they were large enough that they looked like they had a lot of product and they were attractive and people bought stuff from them.
Wow, I love that. I had no idea that when you start asking people questions about their story, you find out some really cool stuff. So a lot of your credit, to the way that things expanded goes to um, your wife tackling a catalog. That's really cool. Do you guys still do the catalog today, or is that
Oh yeah.
done?
Yep. Yes, we
You
do.
do. Okay,
We do a
gotcha.
couple of commercial catalogs a year and one retail catalog, a home processor.
Gotcha.
If you're an avid outdoor enthusiast like me, then odds are good you have toys and equipment that you need to haul. Aluma Trailers, well, they've got you covered. Their trailers are built by a hardworking team in Bancroft, Iowa, right here in the good old USA. They have models for nearly any and every hauling need, from ATV and UTV trailers to utility, snowmobile, motorcycle, car trailers, and even fully enclosed trailers like mine. Trust me when I say Aluma trailers tow like a dream. They are constructed out of lightweight, strong, corrosion-resistant aluminum, and they are 100% maintenance-free. Plus, they come with an industry-best 5-year warranty. Visit alumaklm.com to find a trailer that fits your needs. For everything that gets you outdoors, Aluma Trailers will help you get there. Besides a bird dog, a shotgun, and a good pair of boots, the Onyx Hunt app is one of the most valuable hunting tools that I take into the field every day. I've been talking about the Onyx Hunt app since we started producing this show, and that's simply because I use it on every single hunt. I'm serious. Every single hunt. Their app tells me everything that I need to know about the lands that I want to hunt and the lands that I can legally hunt on. If you've used it yourself, then you know that the Onyx Hunt app shows your location on planet Earth and clearly lays out the land boundaries. It also tells you information about the type of property you're on, like state land, federal lands, walk-in access properties, etc. It's ideal for scouting before the hunt and during a hunt to help put together the patterns that day. The app also has new features this year that show you the kind of crops that are in fields, which obviously is a big deal for us upland bird hunters. If you hunt grouse in the North Woods, there's a timber cut layer to help you find ideal habitat. If you're planning to hunt North Dakota this year, then there's a very important layer that has been added to the app that lets you know if a property has been posted electronically. These are just a few of the tools Onyx Maps give us, and these maps can even be used in areas without cell coverage. From the palm of your hand, Onyx Maps always help you to know where you stand. If you're like me and you love to hunt, there's a good chance you have a four-legged hunting partner that goes everywhere with you in the field. My dog gives me the best chance at finding birds, which is why I always want to make sure that I'm doing my best to give her food that helps her run at peak performance. I feed Daisy Nutrisource high-performance blends of dog food, which give me the confidence to know that she has all the nutrition that she needs to excel in the field and make it through a rigorous hunting season. Nutrisource dog food comes with their Good for Life system that includes 4 key ingredients that work together to support gut health, heart health, and the overall well-being of our dogs. Take it from me and my dog Daisy. Nutrisource high-performance dog food can help you and your dog excel in the field. Find the food that's right for your dog at NutrisourcePetFoods.com.
Well, I tell Austin, your son, and John, your kind of other son, that like I feel like Walton's is like the Amazon of the meat processing world, because I don't know how many SKUs you have. Do you know?
In stock, we have over 5,000 sitting here, and then we have probably 15,000 that are active, that are drop shipped or special order type stuff.
Yeah, so that's pretty much anything you could possibly need or want in the meat processing game, I would say. Is there anything you're looking to expand into next?
Well, we're always looking, we're always adding to the warehouse. I've said before that my goal, 10 years ago, I thought, well, we'll add more seasonings and then we'll drop off ones that don't do as well, right? Well,
Hmm.
we keep adding, we keep adding, we keep adding. And
Well,
it don't ever seem to drop any blend off, like some kind of special, summer sauce, bratwurst. We just add to it and it sells. So it's pretty hard argument to try to, weed some out when they're selling.
Is there anything that surprises you that sells like crazy and you just think, why?
Yes, but I'm not going to tell you. But
Oh, come on. Come on. You got to get it.
it's like people say, "Oh, do you love all of your spices?" And my answer is always no. I don't.
No.
I know they're all good quality, but
Yeah.
I don't like them all. Nobody likes everything. Some people like chipotle. Some people like uh, pumpkin broth, and you never know.
And clearly you don't like pumpkin brat.
I can eat it, but one would be enough.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, I will say that. So uh, I have done my own processing of all my wild game my whole life. I grew up on a farm in western Minnesota. We we butchered our own pigs on the farm.
Hmm.
So I got to do that with my parents, grandparents, when we did that. And then also when I started hunting, I had already helped my dad butcher his deer, process the deer, make our own sausage and everything. And so we have a meat grinder that has been working since I started helping, and that's as far as I can remember. That's I was probably, I don't know how old. Let's just say I was 5 years old watching my dad do it. So over 30 years, he's been using that grinder. And this year we did 350 pounds of venison brats and breakfast sausage. And I brought a new Walton's grinder in, and it was like he didn't know what to think. I mean, this other one we had to work
Hmm.
through all the struggles with it, and we made it work every year. And he's like, "Well, we got another year out of the grinder," and so this year I brought in the new Walton's one, and it just ripped through the meat. And he's like, "Hey, you know what? That's about the coolest thing I have seen in a long time." So you've got a big fan in some of your new products that you're coming out with too, because I know you
You
guys
know,
sell other brands, a lot of other brands, but you also have your own brands of some of the products now too, which is really cool.
well, a lot of people don't realize that. They say, "Well, I've got this grinder I've had for 50 years, is my great grandpa's or whatever," and I'm like, "It's not grinding very good." "Oh, yes, it does." I'm like, "No, I'm telling you, they wear out. You wear a
Yeah,
grinder out. If you're
yeah.
doing commercial processing, you're going to wear that grinder out. And if you got it from somebody who used to use it as commercial grinder, then it's wore out. It wears out from the inside. The meat going through there will wear that out, and it's just not going to do as good a job. And then if you don't have a sharp plate and knife, it's just not going to do as good a job.
hmm Yeah, those are two very important topics, actually. A sharp knife, a dull knife is the worst tool you can possibly use. Those accidents, if your knife is dull, oh gosh, I tell my kids, I'm starting to teach them now how to fillet fish, and they always want to cut up and help. And then the grinder that we were using had a big belt on the outside of it. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about here, Brett, but
No, yeah.
it had yeah, it had the wheels pulley system, and then the belt
Hmm.
would go around. And if you got yourself caught in that, I mean, I don't know if you're losing parts of your hand, but you might. And then the grinder, if you put, I had to be very careful when I told them to drop in the meat, because you don't want to put your finger too close. It'll go right through that grinder too. And now obviously everything is safely out of harm's way. You're not going to be able to get your hands down in there. I mean, it's just nice to upgrade, I guess is what I'm saying, over all these years. But I'm big into the meat processing world as well. The most we ever made one batch of venison brats was 750 pounds.
Wow,
So I'm kind of proud of that. Yep.
that's pretty serious.
Yeah, we don't mess around. We
That's
don't mess
awesome.
around, Brett. Um, I was gonna, let's see, how do I want to bring this back? Oh, when we were emailing back and forth, you mentioned hunt Thursdays. We can't record on Thursday because that's hunt day. How long have you made Hunt Thursday a thing? And for you, how do you find your work balance, family balance? That you know, it's important, I guess. So I respect um your your family life, Brett, and also your work life, and then keeping a hunting life in there too. How did you come up with it?
Well, that's something we just started doing this year. Last year last couple of years, we were just like, hey, let's try to do this some. And it's one of the things that, happens in life. If you say, I'm going to go do that sometimes winds up being a long time away. So you have to I found in my life, anyway, I have to put it on my calendar. Just put it on there. If I have to cancel, I have to cancel it. But so we start off this hunting season just saying, hey, we're not going to book anything on our calendars. My wife and I on Thursdays, we're going to go hunt if possible. And so we've hit most of them just by doing that. Last week, I guess I'm embarrassed to say, last week we did not go because we got up about 6 o'clock in the morning, and first thing I did was look at the weather because I knew it was supposed to be like, and it was where we were going. It was snowing, and it was 30-mile-an-hour wind, and the wind chill was 20 below. And I went, no, I don't think so. We're not going out today. That's a little
Well,
much.
because you've already blocked out enough days throughout the season, you probably felt like, I've had a good year. I don't need to push myself beyond the limits. Looking back on the fact that you've blocked off that time, and I know it's different for everybody in their family life, work life, and not being able to do it. But if you can do it, if you can block that off and make that happen, I think, do you feel like you're more well-rounded, you're better at work, you're better at home?
Well, yeah, that's true. And life changes, different seasons as you go through life. I wasn't doing that, 25 years ago, with 4 small kids and a business we were trying to get going. Didn't take that time off. And I think my oldest son was probably 15. He was probably 14, 15, and he said, "Dad, we should go hunt." And I kind of kicked myself because I hadn't been hunting. I, was busy with the business going and the kids at home, was busy. And so I said, no, we're going to start hunting some. So that's when I kind of started hunting. I probably hadn't hunted hardly at all for 5 to 10 years, probably. And, now that I'm at the age where I don't have to be here every day anymore, so I can get out. But for 25 years, that wasn't the case here. I was here most all the time because I had to be.
Hmm. Well, I appreciate you taking the time today to talk hunting with me more than anything, and to share your story. You've grown a very successful business. You're living life to the best that you possibly can. Um,
Well, we're
Starting a
we're
business
bl-
for what's that?
we're we've been blessed tremendously. We have a lot of long-term employees, even though we've grown a lot and add a lot of people. And then, with our 2 sons, our 2 middle kids are partners with us in the business now. They own shares in the business. And Sandy and I now are kind of working towards not, but we've been blessed by um, the time that we've been here growing the company and been able to raise kids in the business and have a bunch of awesome customers, many of which, especially the commercial processors that we've called friends all over the country. And
Yeah,
not everybody gets to do that in their business. So we really thank God that He gave us that opportunity to do that.
I was gonna. Yeah, I mean, well said. I was gonna say or ask you, is there any advice you would give? Because I know there's people listening that are entrepreneurs or that have their own small business or they're growing or just working hard wherever they're at. What have you learned being a successful businessman like you are that you could give advice to somebody that's looking to grow or take it to the next level? Is there anything that jumps out to you that you'd say, this is important?
Wow. I've run through my head lots of questions you'd ask me today, Travis, and that wasn't one of them. So
Sorry.
I would say I love working with other business owners and stuff, and being and I'm in an organization with some other business owners, and I learn a lot from them. And I think you've kind of hit parts of it, just talking about the family and the faith end of it is you have to keep that in perspective. If you find that and I've worked a lot of hours, but I'm not one who was down at the office until midnight working. You have to keep that balance, and you still have to be, if you have kids at home, you still got to be involved in them with school, and if they play sports or other activities, that you have to be involved in that, and you want to be, because otherwise you're going to get someday where you look back and go, wow, I missed all that.
Mhm.
And um, so there, I mean, in how you are in your business, and I think that goes back to, for me, it goes back to the faith issue, is how we treat people, and how, um, I think there's clear direction for us, and if we look to God's word on how we're supposed to treat people from an employer perspective, and from from somebody that sells to customers, and how we treat them, and hopefully we remember that and continue to do a good job in doing that the right way. And sometimes it's painful to do it the right way, because you realize you made a mistake and somebody's got to pay for. And that should be the company that made the mistake.
Well said. Well said. Last topic here, and then we'll wrap this up. Are you where are you guys at, or where are you seeing the meat processing industry at right now with COVID and supply chain? Are you guys back to where you were beforehand? Are you caught up? I know it was just gangbusters there when, everything got backed up 2 years ago when this first hit.
Yeah, when COVID hit there in March of April of was that 20?
Yep.
Um, People walked in a grocery store and they didn't see meat on the shelves, and especially the big pork producers were shut down or slowed down, and people went out to small processors, and that's our niche. About 70% of what we do goes to small to mid-sized processors are all over the country, and the other 30% is what we call home processors like you. And we went from in April, we went just overnight. We went nuts, and we almost were running 100% increases over the month before. I mean, of the year before's month. So, like in
Mhm.
April that year, we almost doubled the April before's. And we kept thinking that was going to come down, and it didn't come down that much. It came down a little bit, but it didn't come down that much. And then in the process, in the last 2 years, there's been a lot of small plants that have been built, and there's still more coming. As I say, I've done this over 25 years, and I've never seen this many new small meat processing plants being built. And what I mean by small, where there's going to be less than 20 employees there.
Mhm.
You hear the government talk about some bigger ones of hundreds of employees. Well, that's not, to me, a small plant. A small plant's like a small town meat locker, and
Yep.
that's our customer. And then on top of that, so many more people got out and hunted, I guess, because our home processing business did the same thing. So with the company, we've had, I think, I looked last night, getting ready for something else, and I think we've had 21 years of consistent growth. So we've had 21 years in a row where our business has increased. Not always the same, but what happened in the last 2 years almost doubled us, and it's staying here now. It's the new normal. There's that
Wow.
many more people going to small processors.
Hmm.
Can you still hear me?
Yep,
Um,
I
so
got you.
it's amazing how many people have decided they want to know where their food comes from, so they find it from a local source, or they go out and hunt it and harvest that game themselves. And either way they do, we're here to provide supplies for them and seasonings and equipment.
Wonderful.
And you talk about some of that with the equipment stuff. A lot of that stuff we've in the last several years have sourced ourselves, where we used to go through somebody. For instance, you said something about we have other brands. Some of those other brands we don't offer anymore, because we just started having our own brand made, because then we can control that supply chain. And
Yeah.
it's been a real struggle the last 2 years. It kind of We're getting used to it. I don't know. It's better. We're getting used to it, so we just order farther ahead.
So you're able to get everything that you need. There's no products that you're waiting on anymore.
Oh no, there's still some. It depends on the vendor, but there's still some that we're waiting on longer than we would like to. And I guess there's a lot of them we're waiting a little longer than we'd like to, but we've just learned that, it used to be, say, it was a 3 week lead time, and now it's a 3 month lead time. So we just add that lead time into our, calculations. We have software that runs all those calculations to figure out when it needs to be ordered.
Hmm. Yeah, because you store everything. So if I go on your website and order, let's say, a bag of seasoning, it's
Hmm.
waiting on your shelf. You grab it. It goes in the mail
If
that day.
if you put that order in online, more than likely within 30 minutes after you hit enter, it's in a box. If it's during the
Wow.
day, if it's during the
Yep.
day, because as long as you order by 5 o'clock today, it'll ship out today, and then everything, after that time, then is going to be tomorrow. But during the day, we're pulling orders usually as fast as they come in, so that we're caught up at 5 o'clock.
Wow. Well, keep it up. You guys are doing great work down there. I can speak to it on my end. And now my dad can too, and
Hmm.
he's happy with it too. So, I thank you for all that. Well, just with your partnership, I know that Walton's has been a partner of the Flush television show for a few years now, and some of our other TV shows, and we appreciate that. It allows us to be able to tell stories that hopefully inspire people to get out and hunt, and maybe they learn a thing or two that make them a better hunter when they're out there as well. And
Well,
we can't do it without great partners, and you're one of them. So thanks, Brett.
well, you're welcome, and for the people that listen to the Flash, I'm sure they enjoy it because it's very well done. But just to let them know on the backside, the reason it's well done is because you guys, everybody that I know there, are quality people, and they just do the right things. When it shows, when on the TV show or the podcast, it just shows who you guys are, and we are just really thrilled to be part of that.
Hmm. Well, thank you. Blessings to you and to your wife and the rest of your family. But really, I hope you have a very successful Hunt Thursday coming up here, um, and rest of your season down there in Kansas as well. Kansas quail is still open, and there's birds on the ground. You heard it right here that Brett is telling you that the numbers of quail are up right now, which is exciting. I would do almost anything to be able to come down there and take my dog for another rip. But I have a newborn coming into this world here soon, which is keeping me close to home right now for the rest of this hunting season. So I get to talk to people like you, Brett, and live vicariously through you. And I hope that our listeners enjoy it. We're going to do it again here in a couple days with another guest. And then a couple days after that, I'm going to do it again. And then we're going to just keep telling more stories, Brett. We're just going to keep it rolling. Did I lose them? I must have lost him. All right. He had enough of me, and that's okay. Just a reminder for you, if you're still with me, that our new episodes of the Flush podcast, or not the Flush podcast, the Flush television show, are streaming now. Head to YouTube and search The Flush TV. You're going to find our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it so you don't miss any episodes, and you can watch them in their entirety. One new episode a week now until the entire season gets uploaded. Once again, thanks to Brett, who I believe I lost there, but for sharing time with us. He's a good man, and it's fun to hear his story. I'm excited to have several more guests on here that have some pretty cool stories to share as well in the coming weeks. Hope you'll join me. I'm Travis Frank, reminding you to introduce someone new to the field.